In this video, I'm going to show you the things that you need to get or the things that you need to buy if you're looking forward to owning a home studio or setting up a home studio. So these are things that are very essential to the studio, things that you cannot do without. So by the end of this video, I'm sure you already have a list of every single thing that you need in order to get your home studio running. So let's get into the video. If your goal is to set up a home studio, there are some things that you really need to get, and I'm going to list 10 things, not in the order of priority, but 10 important things that you need to get in order to get your home studio running. It might be a basic studio, it might be a very advanced studio, it doesn't matter, but you need these 10 things basically in order to set up your home studio. And I'm going to start with the first one, which is your PC. So when it comes to computers, you actually have two different options. It's either you use a Windows PC or you use a MacBook. Either one you choose out of the two, you're fine, you're gonna be fine either ways. It doesn't really matter. It just depends on your own preference. And the specs of the PC has to be somewhat moderate in order for you to, because you're using it for music production, and you have to have some level of power in order to use. So you can't just get a basic laptop of like 2 gig RAM or 3. It won't work, right? So I would suggest that you get a PC that is at least 8 gigs of RAM, because the stuff that you're going to be using it for is kind of like CPU intensive. So it depends on what you want to get. We can talk about specs, and we can go really deep into the details of laptop specs for production if you want in another video. But you have two options: the MacBook or the PC, right? Or the Windows PC. Choose any one you want. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really count. The second thing you're going to need if you're going to be setting up a home studio is what we call DAW, D-A-W, which means Digital Audio Workstation. Now, these DAWs are in several types. Like, there are several types of DAWs. There's Logic Pro, there's Studio One, there's FL Studio, there's Pro Tools, which is considered the industry standard, and all that stuff, right? You can use Ableton too if you can use Ableton. You can use Cubase, and it doesn't really matter. Just pick whatever DAW you want to use. On this DAW is where you're going to be creating your music. So this is where you're going to be creating your beats. This is where you're going to be recording your vocals. This is where you're going to be mixing the vocals. So basically, your digital audio workstation is kind of like the powerhouse. It's kind of like where you do everything. It's kind of like your office, right? So you need to like decide which one you want to get. I use FL Studio. I'm a FL Studio gang, and sometimes I use Logic Pro because it's easy for recording vocals as well. So it doesn't matter which one you choose, they're all the same at this point, right? The third thing you're going to be needing if you're setting up your home studio is what we call the audio interface, or the sound card. Now, this sound card is what connects your instruments or your microphones to your system. So it's kind of like an intermediary between whatever sounds you want. You can't just directly plug a guitar directly into your system or a microphone directly into your system, XLR microphone. So what you need is an audio interface, which is gonna be like a medium between the two, your system and your instrument. So you plug your instrument into the audio interface or the sound card, and then you plug the sound card into your system, and then your system receives signal from whatever you plug into it. So it's very, very important, especially if you're going to be recording vocals. It is a very, 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 very important one. You need audio interface or your sound card in order to record vocals, right? And speaking of vocals, that will give us our number 4. If you're setting a home studio, you definitely need a microphone, especially if you're planning to record artists or you're planning to record yourself. It doesn't really matter. You will still need a microphone, right? Now, when it comes to microphone, there are two types of microphone. It depends on what you really want. There is the dynamic microphone and there is the condenser microphone. Now, which one is better for your vocals? It doesn't really matter. It just depends on what you can afford or what you really want. I have both in my studio. I have the SM7B, which is a dynamic microphone, which is not as loud as a normal conventional microphone. It's not loud, but this one is actually built for podcasts, right? But basically, the Thriller album, Michael Jackson Thriller, was recorded with this microphone, was recorded on the SM7B. And you can also use the condenser microphone, which is this other one that I have in the studio, which is the Aston Spirit. Very, very amazing microphone. Very, very amazing. Those microphones are a little bit on the high side, but you don't have to spend that much money in order to get a microphone in there. You can actually get cheaper ones that sounds really great, right? There are lots of microphones that I think you just have to do a little bit of research. Know whether you want a dynamic microphone or a condenser microphone. It doesn't really matter as long as you know what you're doing. You're good. Guys, before I continue, I'm actually interrupting this video because I really have to say this. Please, I'm begging you, please subscribe to this YouTube channel before we continue. Just like, this is like, in fact, I will not go. If you don't subscribe to this YouTube channel, I'm not going anywhere. Okay, I'm gonna go. Don't leave now. I'm good to go. But subscribe to this channel. Subscribe. Now, number 5. If you're going to buy a microphone, definitely you're going to be needing a mic stand, right? Because your microphone will not be lying down. Even though I'm very careless in the studio, I leave my microphones. Don't be like me. Don't leave your microphones on your MIDI controller like me. It's horrible. It's not good. It's not good. Buy mic stands. You can get a couple of mic stands. Get a very sturdy one, the one that is very strong, that can last you a long time and wouldn't break or wouldn't give up on you. Get mic stands, very, very important. Number 6, if you're going to be getting mic and you're going to be getting mic stand, you should probably add a pop filter to it. Now, a pop filter is, just as the name sounds, it stops plosives. So all your poo and your boo sounds when it comes to the speaking into the microphone, it stops it. It stops the plosives from getting into the microphone. So it's a very, very important thing, a very, very important addition to add to your microphone if you're going to be recording vocals. Very, very important. It's very difficult to record vocals without plosives, the beep sound and the BBB sound. Those are the things that we don't want. You don't want to record the vocals that has poo in it, right? It doesn't sound good. So, and these things are very, 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 very cheap. You can get one for as low as $20 or as low as $15. Very cheap, right? So get a pop filter. Very, very important. Very, very important. I don't know how to speak anymore. Number 7. This is very important. I don't think there's anything on the list that is not important, but you can't do without this thing. It's what we call cables, right? You need XLR cables. You need cables to join. You need jack to jack. You need cables to connect your maybe like your studio monitors to your audio interface. You need cable to connect your microphone to your audio interface. You need cables, loads of cables to join one thing to another. You need USB-C type cables, or you just need cables, a bunch load of cables. Just know you will need cables, right? So number 8, headphones. You really can't do without headphones in the studio. Headphones are listening devices. I'm sure everybody knows what headphones are. It is your headphone you will use when you're recording a vocal. Like when you're recording an artist, you have to have something that's gonna be like a listening device, so that you don't like crank up the volume and then it bleeds into your microphone. You need headphones for that, and sometimes you need headphones for mixing as well. So headphones are things that you can't do without. And there are 2 types of headphones. There are the open back headphones, which have like a more open system to it. That means if you play music through it, you can easily hear people that are around you. You can easily, it's all open. And then we have closed back headphones, which are very good for recording vocals. You have less bleed into the microphone. Very great for mixing as well. Open back is actually very great for mixing as well. So make sure you get headphones for your studio. So I'm going to talk about 2 more things that you need when it comes to opening a home studio. And on number 9, we have monitors, right? We have studio monitors. Studio monitors are those speakers that you see in the studio. Those 2 speakers that let you listen to. They're like your listening devices. Like they let you listen to what you're doing, the beat you're creating, the mix you're mixing, everything. It gives you like a very, very linear listening experience where you can easily listen to what you're doing. The headphone does that as well, just that it is only in your ear. But then with the studio monitors, you have everybody in the studio be able to hear what you're doing, and it's a very beautiful thing to have in the studio. If you can afford it, please do buy a studio monitor. It's very, very important for the studio. And the last thing I'm going to be talking about is more for the people that are going to be going into beat making specifically, and which is the MIDI controller. So now what a MIDI controller is most people see MIDI controllers as keyboards. They are not like keyboards. They are not piano, but like they are like let's see it as it's kind of like something that gives information to your system, right? So basically, you can load all sort of sounds into it. You can load piano, you can load guitar, you can load saxophone. It doesn't matter. It just lets you play whatever instruction that you give to it, right? So you will need a MIDI controller in your studio to be able to create beats. If you're someone, you can easily, there are people that don't even use MIDI controller to create beats. For the longest time, I'm from a very poor background, so I didn't even have money to buy a MIDI controller. So for the first long years of my music production years, I was actually like typing in notes in my system, and I didn't have a MIDI controller. But it makes your work easier if you can get one. Please do. And basically, that's everything that you need to open a music studio. Of course, there are other things that you might want to get. There's some other minor things like doing the acoustic treatment of your home studio, like getting a studio chair, like getting like there's so many different things, maybe like a sustain pedal for your MIDI controller, or there are some little things that you might want to get, like mouse and all. But those 10 things that I listed are like the major things that you might want to get. And if you think I missed anything out that is very important that we need to have in the studio, please leave it in the comment section. Also, if you have any question for Uncle ePiano, please let me know in the comment section. And please, I'm begging, do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm begging, please do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel before you leave. And see you on the next video, guys.